He's convinced the mystery structures are the hidden remains of a cataclysmic weapon, one that threatened to change the course of history.
There's nothing like it anywhere else on Earth. We're talking about a gun barrel the length of the height of the Statue of Liberty.
The story of the massive supergun begins in 1943. In retaliation for devastating Allied bombing campaigns, Nazi Minister of War Albert Speer announces the development of a series of so-called vengeance weapons.
The idea of these vengeance weapons was to chip away at the morale of the people that were on the receiving end of the attack, that they would eventually become so dispirited that they wouldn't want to fight any longer.
In June 1944, German scientists in Poland unleash the V1, a flying bomb armed with a 2,000-pound warhead. This is quickly followed by the V2, the first ballistic missile in history. And the Nazis are just warming up.
What we're seeing are the remains of the test platforms for the V3. The V3 supergun was the most awesome of them all.
The V3 is the biggest gun the world had ever seen. Over 400 feet long, the massive cannon can propel a 310-pound shell more than 100 miles.
You can't aim this gun barrel. Cannoneers had to compensate for the rotation of the Earth when they were firing over such a great distance.
It's pretty amazing to think about the size of that gun, that it required an entire hillside for support.
After secret tests at the site in the image, Hitler begins construction of a V3 battery in northern France. His plan is to install 25 superguns, each unleashing one bomb every 12 seconds over the English Channel and on to London.
It's terrifying to think about that as a possibility. The Blitz was bad enough. This would be worse.
This would have devastated England, and it would have turned the tide of the war.
When Allied intelligence officers learn of Hitler's new mega-weapon, they initiate a plan to destroy the French bunkers, codenamed Project Anvil.
The idea was essentially that they would pack a plane full of bombs and then remotely crash into the bunker and take care of business.
It had to take off with pilots aboard. Then these two pilots would bail out of the aircraft and it would continue on under remote control all the way to the target.
The man charged with piloting the flying bomb is Joseph Kennedy Jr., brother to the future U.S. president. 20 minutes after he begins the mission, disaster strikes.
Something went wrong as they armed the explosives. The entire package exploded, killing both men inside the aircraft even before it flew out over the English Channel.
Adding to the tragedy is that it could have been avoided completely.
Unknown to Project Anvil and the people working in it, the RAF dropped a series of tall-boy bombs that destroyed the site to the extent that it could not be used.
In honor of Joseph Kennedy, the U.S. Navy names a destroyer after him, on which his brother serves. 75 years later, the test site that led to his death and threatened to kill millions of others is revealed from the skies.
What we're seeing here are the remnants of a Nazi weapon that could have changed the course of history itself.